Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about step number 9 in my 13-step foundation to healing post-traumatic stress and trauma that I developed personally and used to heal my PTSD in natural healthy ways. And step number 9 is processing your emotions. And it piggybacks off of step number 8, which we did cover in the last video, which was finding your passion. And you'll see why it piggybacks off of that here in a little bit after we get into it a little bit. And as always, all these steps are in my book here in much greater detail. The Sword and the Anvil, a definitive guide for natural healthy healing from post-traumatic stress and trauma, with a lot more information, statistics, history, all kinds of research. All the sources that I consulted in the couple years of research that I did, writing the book, building my foundation, and trying to heal are in the book, so that you can, they're all in one convenient place that you can look it up and check it all out. And all my books are on Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble Nook. You can order them there if you so choose, or you can also go to your local bookstore. I've had people do that before and have their bookstore order it. So, step number 9, processing your emotions. The first thing that I want to talk about is something that a doctor had me do when I first started dealing with my post-traumatic stress after I had my breakdown. And I found a psychiatrist who dealt with post-traumatic stress, and she was very good. She actually provided counseling along with medication, which I found out later isn't the norm. Usually you see a psychiatrist, they give you medication, and that's about it. Counseling, you usually have to go see a psychologist or a counselor or something like that. That's not always the case, but most of the time it is. At least when I was doing it was. And that was about 10, 11, 12 years ago. So anyhow, she, when I was seeing her in the beginning, she had me do something that helped me out quite a bit. And it has to do with processing your emotions. And it was that one day I went to go see her, so she told me that she wanted me to make a list of everyone or everything that ever hurt me in my life or caused me trauma or anything like that. So I said okay, and I went home and did that. And at the time I was seeing her, it was a weekly basis at the time, as I was just starting out. And so I went home, I made a list of these things. I believe there was about 10 things on the list that I thought really had affected me. So I brought the list back with me to see her the following week, and she looked at it and she said, okay, good job. Next, what she wanted me to do was to go home and just go through, in my mind, go through each one of the things on the list and allow myself to feel the emotions that it brought up, to identify with it. And she said, give yourself some time, and all that. It doesn't have to be done, right away or whatever. But being how I was, and I was so desperate to try and heal, and I wanted to do everything I possibly could, I went through, that next week, I went through all 10 of those things. Now, I don't recommend necessarily doing that. That's just the way I did it. And if you're going to do it, I recommend at least having a counselor available to talk to, or a psychologist, something like that, or maybe a relative or somebody to talk to help you with your emotions, because it's going to affect you if you do it properly. I know with me that it actually made me physically sick, and it took me at least an entire day to recover from that, but I'm glad I did it. I had a lot of stuff to get off my chest and a lot of different conflicting feelings, and I did it all at once. And so I took it back to the doctor, and she was like, she kind of was like, well, you don't have to do it all at once. And I said, well, that's just the way I am, so that's what I did it. So after that, she made me go home, and basically what she did, she had me write a letter to each person or thing that was on that list. And she said to let everything out. Just let it all out. Whatever you want to say, you can make up words if you want, whatever, just let it all out. And she gave me some instructions to do afterwards. So I went home and I wrote these letters, and I let everything out. I was inventing all kinds of cuss words, everything, you name it. And I wrote about 10 letters. And so at the end of each letter, I signed it, I wish you the best of luck. I'm moving on with my life without you. Goodbye. And then I crumbled each one up in my hand and really squeezed the pulp out of that paper. I threw it in a trash can, and I repeated that. I'm moving on without you. Goodbye, and I wish you the best of luck. And then I took that bag out of the trash can. I took it out to the dumpster, and I threw it in a dumpster, and I repeated the phrase. Goodbye, I'm moving on without you. I wish you the best of luck. However order you want to put it, doesn't matter. And it literally felt like somebody lifted an elephant off my chest. So it was a good, healthy way to release those emotions. Now, I don't recommend sending those letters to those people, obviously. That's going to start a whole lot of trouble. Because the point of the whole process was to get it out of me, get it off my chest, get it onto a piece of paper, release it, and say goodbye to it, and tell myself that I'm moving on. And it worked quite well. So I did that. And then, this is sort of where I said, processing your emotions piggybacks off of step number 8, which was finding your passion. So part of obviously processing your emotions is you have to let them out. You have to identify with them and then release them and then move on with them. And outside of those letters I just told you about, another way to do that is by conducting your passion. And as I said before in video number 8, you can go back and watch it if you need a refresher. But it's basically whatever your passion is, reading, writing, painting, drawing, running, playing the guitar, singing, whatever it is. For me, it was writing. So that's when my whole process started of writing books. I sat down. I had some people that I knew that convinced me to write my first book about the Gulf War. So I did that, and it released all of that trauma and things that I experienced, from my childhood, from being in the war, and from when I came home from the war, the things that I encountered. So I had realized that how much that first book had really helped me. And that book was called A Line in the Sand, the Marines' true experiences on the front lines of the first Gulf War. And I'll put a picture of it up at the end of the video for those of you who are interested. But I realized how much it had helped me. So by releasing that, and like I state in the book, it was like when I finished writing the book, it was like I was a Coke can that somebody had taken and profusely shaken, and then my top just finally blew, and everything came out. And I went through some emotional things, but ultimately I did feel a lot better, at least from the aspect that I got a huge weight off my chest. And so that's part of it. The next thing that I began doing was analyzing my dreams. And a lot of people think that they're nonsense. They're really not. They're an important part of your life. They will lend you insight into what's going on within you. They give you insight into who you really are internally, not who society has made you into or forced you to be. So I started doing that ever since I started going to college and working the job that I used to have. My boss told me that he thought I'd be interested in the great psychoanalyst Carl Jung, whose expertise was analyzing dreams. So I have a quote of his in my book here, The Sword and the Anvil, and I'm just going to read it to you, what he says about dream analysis, so bear with me. Quote, "Dreams of modern man bring him memories, insights, experiences, awaken dormant qualities in our personality, and reveal the unconscious element in our relationships. So, it seldom happens that anyone who has taken the trouble to work over his dreams with qualified assistance for a longer period of time remains without enrichment and a broadening of his mental horizon. And that's basically what it did for me. I took it, I analyzed it, all my dreams. I had a pad of paper and a pen by my bed. I woke up, whether it was in the middle of the night, morning, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. And then the next day I started analyzing those dreams. And, so there's plenty of resources now. I used Carl Jung's books. I have most of his works, but there's plenty of resources online and stuff now that you can go to that will help you to analyze your dreams. And, you sort of have to, when you're going through it, pick out things that resonate with you. I'll probably do a video at a later date on dream analysis. But basically what you're doing is, they said, there's things online you can look up. You're looking at, symbols, people, colors, places, objects, things like that in your dreams. They're not to be meant to take literally. They're just sort of to help you remember the dream. But they symbolize something, what they mean, what the person or the object actually means to you. What event happened means to you. As you read some interpretations of symbols or numbers or things like that, I tend to pick out things that actually resonate with me, because not everything will apply to you. But then you kind of put all that together, and it gives you some insight into who you are internally and in reality. It gives you some insight into what you're battling with. There's also good things that get out of it, like I said, direction for my life, things of that nature. So it's a good thing to do. And one of the examples I like to use, that one of the things that my dreams helped me with, is that I had 3 dreams growing up as a child. They were the same 3 dreams, and I had them over and over and over again until I was 18 and I joined the Marine Corps. The first dream is that I was in the Revolutionary War, and I'd gotten shot here in my chest, and it came out my back, and then everything went black, like I died in the dream. And then the second dream was I was in the Civil War, and I had got stabbed in the chest with a bayonet, and it came out my back, and everything went black, like I had died. And then the third dream, I was in Vietnam, and I had actually got shot in the back, and it came out my chest, and everything went black, like I had died. And interestingly, I'm writing a 4th book now that the beginning of the book starts with these 3 dreams, and I analyze them in great detail, and it's the platform for my next book in terms of what I'm talking about, and finding out who you really are and being that person, and then achieving your goals and dreams after you've healed and dealt with the baggage that society has given you. But when I was seeing that same psychiatrist that I had mentioned earlier, I brought those dreams up to her, and I told her exactly what happened in each dream. And she had said that, well, basically what the dreams are trying to tell you. Now, here's a doctor who's, who believes in this analysis. She knew who Carl Jung was and all that. And it was important enough to me. So, she listened, and she knew who it was, and she knew, some interpretation of the dreams. And she gave me a very astute interpretation, and she said that, well, I think what the dreams are trying to tell you is that, I was always, as a child, I was always interested in the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and Vietnam. I read a lot of books on those things growing up. So my dreams were basically using those things to pique my interest so that I would remember the dreams. But ultimately they were about war, right? And so what she said was, in each one of those dreams, what they were trying to tell me, and I was all wounded in the same spot in my heart, she said that the dreams were trying to tell you that if I don't deal with the war, ultimately it was going to end up killing me by killing my heart. In other words, just basically killing who I am, the person that I am. And when I had post-traumatic stress at the worst, that's actually what it was doing to me. And so I went out. That interpretation she gave me had quite an impact on me, and it helped spur me along to continue on my path, my healing journey, and to heal. So that's just sort of, some of the things that analyzing your dreams can tell you, the insight that they can give you. So it's an important thing. It's not something that one should dismiss. And so basically, thinking about all those things, put it all in a nutshell here, that's what processing your emotions are all about. Those are some of the things that doing that will accomplish for you. Like I said, it felt like somebody lifted a weight off my chest. It allowed me to release these emotions in healthy ways that weren't contradictory to my physical or mental health. And then I learned another tool to put in my toolbox, which was analyzing my dreams and extracting the insight out of them that they gave me. And that's something that I still do today. It still helps me in a positive way. I'm still writing. I just said I was writing a 4th book. So a whole new career came out of this. A whole new life came out of all this. And it all started with releasing my emotions or processing my emotions in natural, healthy ways. So with that, I'd like to end it like I normally like to do with an acronym from my book. So each one of my, as a lot of you know that follow me, each one of my steps, 13 steps for healing PTSD, I sort of end the chapter with an acronym of whatever the name of the step is, and it sort of summarizes everything up that I'm talking about in that particular step. So step number 9 was processing your emotions. And so I chose the word process to make an acronym out of, and the acronym is PROCESS. P, precipitate. R, release. O, of. C, calamitous. E, emotions. S, supporting. And S, serenity. Again, process. Precipitate, release of calamitous emotions, supporting serenity. So that's going to go ahead and conclude today's video. I would like to say please click on the drop down window below the video and check out all the links to my books, my previous TV shows, all the previous radio shows that I've done, all the podcasts that I do. My Twitter handle is there, a link to that. So you can check out all my work, check out anything you want to check out. It's all there. And don't forget to please subscribe to my channel, and also to like, follow, and share my videos in order to help me help others to get to those people that need help. And I appreciate you tuning in, and I wish you all the best of luck on your healing journey. And I'll talk to you next time when we talk about step number 10. I'm out.